Good morning, everybody. So a lot has changed since the last edition of the Friday Shabbat video. The Jewish people are suffering from what has been perhaps the worst tragedy that we've suffered, maybe since the Holocaust. Families are grieving and mourning. People are in unspeakable pain, not knowing where their children are, not knowing if they'll ever see them again, burying their loved ones. Yesterday, I went to a funeral of a rabbi in our community who had two sons who were killed on Shabbat morning when they responded to the sirens and went out to help try to neutralize terrorists. And it's been a confusing week for everybody, and we're all trying to do the very best we can. First of all, I just want to say we have been raising money, and you guys have been contributing very generously. And what we've been able to do in the last week has been incredible. We've gotten much needed equipment to soldiers who didn't have basic equipment because the mobilization happened so quickly that the army didn't have the necessities to take care of their soldiers in terms of basic equipment. We've been helping families who have been evacuated from their homes in the South and who have nothing right now, and we've been helping them. We've been moving critical resources to different communities to be able to protect their communities, and in different ways. We've been getting medical supplies to people that need them. And that's all because of the efforts that we've made together with you, with the Chaim Center community. And that's something that you should all be very proud of. One of the questions that everybody has been asking me is, what can we do? And I know that there's a feeling of helplessness. When we're here in the land of Israel, there's no sense of helplessness because there's so much that needs to be done. Literally all day long, my WhatsApp groups are ringing constantly with requests. Can somebody come? We need help packing a truck that's going to this place, or we need 1,000 pairs of tzitzit to be tied for the soldiers. And everybody here is involved in some way or another in physically helping for this war effort. But I know in America, obviously, everyone's been donating generously, and that's something that's hugely important. But beyond that, people feel helpless. What can I do? How can I play a role? And I want to share with you what I think is the answer to that question. In the book of Exodus, which is not our parsha this week, but I'm going to take the liberty of skipping exactly one book ahead to the beginning of the book of Exodus and the parsha of Shemot, where it's talking about Moshe and what qualified him to become the great leader of the Jewish people. And his resume, so to speak, is listed enumerated, elaborated on in the beginning of the parsha. And I'm going to read you what it says. It says, "It happened in those days that Moses grew up and went out to his brethren and observed their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian man," etc. That's it. That's the entire description of what qualified Moses, to be tapped on the shoulder at the burning bush and to be handed the mantle of leadership, to be the one to take the Jewish people out of Egypt. So what's so great about that? He grew up and he went out and to his brethren and observed their burdens. So the commentaries point out, and I'm going to read this to you. He observed their burdens. This is quoting from Rashi. His intention was to see their suffering and to grieve with them. Meaning, why did Moses go out and observe the suffering that his brethren were experiencing under the burden of servitude and slavery in Egypt? There was nothing he could do at that point. And the answer Rashi provides for us is he wanted to see it and feel it so that he could experience the pain and suffering with them. Sometimes all we can do as Jews when other Jews are suffering and in pain is to be there with them, to feel it with them, to experience it with them. The amount of love and support and outpouring that everybody here is receiving from Jews all over the world is keeping us alive. It's floating us. It's carrying us through this incredibly difficult time. This is not a crisis for the state of Israel. This is a crisis for Am Yisrael. This is an attempt to destroy and dismantle and eliminate the Jewish people from the world. That's what Hamas is all about. They're not an army. They're not a country. They're a terrorist organization who has one goal and one goal only: to kill Jews and to destroy the state of Israel. And we all know, without a state of Israel, it's very hard to imagine how the Jewish people carry forward. So being together, when the Jewish people come together and just feel and experience the pain and suffering of another Jew, that is sometimes the most powerful thing that we can do. So everyone's asking, what can I do? What can I do? Exactly what you're doing. Feel the pain. Think about the pain. Think about what people are going through. Put yourself in their shoes, of a family who gets a knock on the door and they're told that we, have found your child, the body of your child, or the families that don't know where their kids are. A mother who I heard interviewed, whose 12-year-old and 14-year-old, or 12-year-old and 16-year-old, I think, boys were taken from their beds on Shabbat morning and dragged into Gaza, and she has no idea where they are. We need to hear these stories. We need to feel the pain, and we need to come together. What can we do? Of course, we can give money, and that's incredibly important. But perhaps more importantly is Imo Anochi V'Tzara, to be together in the pain, with the pain, and feel the pain that Am Yisrael is going through right now. Don't be afraid to feel the pain. Open your hearts and feel that, and be there. And just like Moses, the great leader who led the Jewish people out of Israel, there's nothing he could do at that point, but he could see it and see what the Jewish people are going through so that he could feel it and experience it. That's what I wanted to share with everybody right now during this really, truly difficult time. And since we're on the topic of Mitzrayim and Pharaoh, I will say, as the line goes, we survived the Pharaoh and we're going to survive this too. Am Yisrael Chai. We're a living, eternal nation. We're going to get through this. We're going to survive this, and we're going to do it because of the love and the commitment that we have for each other. Please God, as our soldiers go in next week sometime for sure on the ground into Gaza, we should all be praying for them. We should be joining our community together, because the power of prayer as a community is infinitely stronger than the power of prayer of an individual. So if there's something going on at the Chaim Center or anywhere where Jews are getting together to pray, show up, be there, pray in your own words. Just pray for the safety of these boys, and pray for the parents to see their children come home from war and to see their children come home from captivity, and pray for the families that see no path, no light for the future because of what they've experienced and suffered from. And may Hashem protect us, all of us, all the Jewish people, our soldiers who are protecting us, and may we see an end, but not a speedy end, but a complete end to this threat and the threat of terror, so the Jewish people can do what we only thing we want to do, to live in our country, to succeed, to thrive, and to be a light unto the nations of the world. Am Yisrael Chai. Jewish people are strong. We go on. Shabbat Shalom from Jerusalem.